Let me go ahead here. So my name is Gabby. As I said, I am part of the marketing team at Nimble. I'm primarily in charge of our social media and our social media marketing. So if you've ever interacted with the Nimble brand identity on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, anything, hello, that was me. It's nice to meet you face to face. And Jenna, you can go ahead and introduce yourself here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do see some familiar names in the chat here. Some of you might already know me, but I am Jenna. I'm also part of the marketing team as well. I'm also the product marketing lead, so I do a lot of work with the product team to help these awesome capabilities we'll be going over today come into fruition. I love to hear all of your feedback as well, which is also part of my role here, which is super rewarding. And also, on a side note, I am also the partner manager here as well. So if some of you are partners or interested in the partner program, I'm your person as well. So it's awesome to be here today and discuss a little bit more about the product updates we have upcoming.
Yep. And I will hand it over to Jenna to take over.
Yes, absolutely. So I will be discussing the agenda and what we are going to go over today. I'm just going to move this out of the way so I could share my screen here. All right. Is it up? Is it still loading? Okay, there we go. Okay, so first on our agenda today, so if some of you are new to Nimble, I'll just discuss a little bit about what Nimble is, who we are, and where we're headed. And then, of course, if some of you are longtime users, I'll just give you a refresher on what we're doing as a CRM, which is awesome. And then next, I will highlight some of the key features and improvements of Nimble. So Gabby and I will do a screen share and just jump right into some of our awesome upcoming product launches as well. So we'll be going over some past product launches that you might have missed, or maybe you're new and you just want to kind of hit the ground running with some of our product updates here. And then again, we'll do a screen share of some of our awesome updates, some new product launches, particularly with web forms and automations too. That's something that's been a really big feature that we're super excited to kind of showcase and help you get started with that as well. And then next, I'll also discuss some future product updates and what to get excited for. It's kind of our gift to you guys for the holiday season as well. Some really, really awesome, exciting updates. I'm really excited to kind of show everyone. These are especially those who are asking for these product launches. It's finally into fruition, so I'm super excited to kind of walk you through that. And then last but not least, we will leave a couple minutes at the end to answer questions. So feel free to leave the questions in the Q&A box. We can probably get to them in real time, but of course we'll leave some time at the end just to kind of dive deep into those questions that you may have. But next, I wanted to discuss what Nimble really is. So first, as we do dive into today's exciting details, I just want to quickly go over what Nimble is. And for those of you who don't know what Nimble is the relationship CRM, pretty much just a design for work everywhere you do work. It is tailored for small teams and solopreneurs alike, looking to enhance their business strategies. Of course, Nimble's really all about relationship management and focusing on building and engaging those relationships because you have all these contacts in Nimble. And it's kind of the big now what question. We're really focused on how to engage those clients, contacts, leads, all that great stuff as well. And today I'm just particularly excited to kind of walk through some of our new launches. And as we do kind of focus on some upcoming launches today, Nimble's main focus is really just to help you and your business grow. And that's why we really like to use these launches to build a platform that better works for you. All of our product updates are really focused around how can we help you and your business grow, of course, from feedback and all the great things that we've heard from you guys. And next, if you haven't been around with Nimble for a while, you know that Nimble is a place that works everywhere you work. So if you're new to Nimble, you might be interested in using it with Outlook or Gmail. I saw in the polls that some of you use Gmail and Outlook, which is great. We do fully integrate with those as well. Even if you're working with inside your socials or even like these great places here. HubSpot and MailChimp, we do integrate with those so that we do work everywhere you work, whether you work in your inbox or socials, or you just want to work within Nimble. I know I'm guilty of leaving post-it notes and planner notes for myself. So having all those into Nimble is really important as well. So being able to have everything in one place is super, super important as well. And next, I actually kind of wanted to go over some of our case studies and what our users have been doing. Especially with today's topic, we are going over a ton of capabilities that can be really kind of overwhelming with all these new capabilities, especially if you're a new user and you don't really know where to start. It's why are these capabilities important? What's the point of these product launches? I do think it's really important that we can share stories of how other people are actually using these capabilities and product launches to help their business grow, which is so important, which is really why the reason why we do this kind of stuff here at Nimble. And I just wanted to highlight one of these case studies here. I dived deep with one of the team members from Recruitment Central. They are a recruitment agency in Australia, and we really dived deep into what the outreaches look like, relationship management as well. And something that they really found was, using email templates and merge tags and custom fields to kind of pivot their candidate messaging. Before that, they were receiving like very little engagement, of course, as many of you might know who, work in marketing and sales, that without personalized messaging and personalized marketing, it's really hard to reach those people. And as I dive deep into the case study with them, using those merge tags and, tailoring messages, really leverage their candidate messaging. You can see here now they have an 85% open rate strategy, which is, the goal that everyone wants here. So I thought it would be a really great place to just kind of let people know that these capabilities are really for you to help you grow. And it's not just to showcase what we're doing, but how it can actually apply to your real life business needs and solutions as well. And next, I did want to discuss some past product updates before I kind of dive deep into a little bit of these. This is just kind of like what we've been doing. This is the foundation of, what Nimble is and who we are. So, of course, at the base of everything is relationship management, especially with all these here that you see. I'll briefly go into each and every one of these, but our past product updates again are really focused on relationship management, how this can actually kind of pivot towards the new product launches we're talking about today as well. So first, I'll kind of just briefly jump into workflows and automations, and I'll go ahead and switch my screen here. But if those of you who don't know what workflows is a place where you have a process or a strategy that you move contacts or leads through stage by stage, especially if you're working with maybe like lead qualification or maybe influencer management. It doesn't have to completely be, leads all the time. It can even just be some internal process that you and your team have. And basically what happens is when you bring contacts into Nimble, you might want to move them through a series of stages. So maybe you have, for example, I'm in recruiting. Maybe I have an outbound prospecting workflow where I'm constantly moving people through these stages, and it's really easy to lose track of who's in which stage. So basically what happens is you can move these people through stages. Of course, we use see here as a template. You can completely customize these, but the essential thing is you move them from stage to stage. So you know what stage they're in, how many days they've been in there, even who's in your workflow stage, which is super important as well. And of course, what would workflows be without automations? So if you're ever doing a lot of automated tasks, or even if you find yourself right now doing manual tasks, like constantly reminding yourself to follow up with people, or maybe just message them on LinkedIn, or maybe it's been 6 months and you want to reach out to those people who you've recently reached out to, but now it's just finally time to re-engage that conversation again. This is a great place to do so. And basically what happens in the workflow automations is that when you move a contact from stage to stage, that triggers an automation to go off. So maybe that's a templated email, or maybe that's just a task reminder for yourself or another team member to maybe move them through the next stage, or send a LinkedIn message or a thank you note, anything like that. So again, workflows is really the centralized place for relationship management or lead qualification, and being able to kind of automate those processes. So um, having this work for you rather than working harder with, a planner or a notepad, anything like that. And then next, I'm just going to jump back into this presentation here. I'll quickly jump into new deals and reports. So if you have been a longtime Nimble user, you know that Deals has a, a completely new interface, which is great. For those of you who are new to Nimble, Deals is basically a place where it's kind of like a workflow. You move sales opportunities from stage to stage. You do have a Kanban board here as well. And of course, again, we do have templates, but you can also start from scratch with these stages here. And essentially, it's just for you to get a better understanding of where your sales opportunities are and where they're headed. If you click into these, you do get a detailed view of each of your deal opportunities and the related contacts to it as well. So For example, I'm the related contact here. So any emails, activities that go out associated with that related contact, they do show up in the deal as well. And actually, one of the more important parts of the new deals upgrade is that you can actually tag and have deal fields in here too. So you can see that I have some deal fields in here like decision maker, urgency, and of course I can add tags like maybe, for example, this is a client deal, or maybe this is a specific industry deal like healthcare or recruiting, things like that. So you can really customize these deals as well. But again, the purpose is just to understand what your sales opportunities are and are headed, which is a really great segue into our new reports tab. Of course, reports is super important because what is sales without actually understanding where they're going? So this is also really great too. If you're working with a team, you can be able to filter based on a certain team member's productivity on each sales opportunity, closing rate, revenue forecast, things like that. And the nice thing about reports too is that if you click into any of these deal reports, you'll get a sidebar here that actually shows the deal opportunities associated with it. So you don't really ever have to guess where those deals are coming from. There's no guesswork there. You can actually just click into these. For example, I'll click into this, and you can see this deal conversion here, who it's won by, and all the details there. So there's really no guesswork with the deals and reports. And then next, I do want to discuss a little bit about emails and engagement as well. So kind of going off of workflows and workflow automations is email reminders. Email reminders came out a couple weeks ago, so this may be new for most of our users. But basically what happens is if you send a ton of emails out and you forget to follow up with that person or kind of forget, hey, did they answer my email? Where did we last leave off with that conversation? Watched emails is a really great place to do that. So for example, if I sent an email to maybe a client or a lead and they don't answer me in a certain period of time, I'll be able to get a notification if they don't email me in a certain period, which is great because that's kind of extra work you have to do or you find yourself doing if I email a ton of people and I have to remind myself to follow up with them. This is kind of a place where you can definitely have Nimble work for you in that case. So for example, I'm just going to click a template here so you can get a little bit of an idea of what this is used for. I'm just going to put a subject in here, subject. And from here, if you scroll down, you'll see set reminder. And you can do a custom date too. So maybe I want to send this email out. And if I don't get a response in the next week, I'll put the 21st here, set reminder. So that means if I don't get a reply by this time, December 21st at 6:15, I will get a notification that that person hasn't received my email or hasn't responded to my email. And I'm just going to quickly move this tab over. And you'll see a dashboard here of all the statuses of your emails. So for example, these are all the emails that haven't been responded to, or these would be the place where if you had an email and you're just in that waiting period before they actually respond, and of course responded, what we all want, will be here. So once you do get a notification if they replied or didn't reply, you can also change those settings in Nimble as well. So mobile notifications or desktop and email notifications as well. So that's also just a great place if you constantly find yourself trying to remind yourself of that last communication as well. And then last but not least, one of our past product updates that's super important to us is some mobile development improvements as well. So you might have noticed in your workflows mobile app, we do have Kanban board now, so you can click and drag all those to the stages, very similar to the desktop app as well. And we also upgraded our deal opportunities in your mobile app as well. So you'll be able to see list view, add change log, activities, events, all that great stuff associated with the deals that weren't in the mobile app before. So if you like to work on the go or you like just looking at your phone all the time, I'd recommend downloading it. It's also just good for notifications too. You can pretty much get any notification on the Nimble desktop in your mobile app. So if you like looking at your phone, it's great just to have for notifications as well. And with that, I'm going to go to the next tab here. And I'll kind of discuss some new Nimble product updates. And this is pretty much the bulk of this webinar here and why everyone's here. So first, Gabi will go over some web forms and automations. We did recently launch some web form automation, so I definitely recommend having an notepad out in your notes. It's really exciting, some of the developments we've had with web forms automation so far. And then next, Gabby will also go over some mobile web forms. So if you really like to work with web forms and you also like to work with your mobile app, good news. And then last but not least, I will discuss multi-value custom fields, what it is, what it's about, why you might want to check it out. And then I'll let Gabby take it from here.
Yes, okay, let me go ahead and share my screen. Before we get started on the newer updates revolving around web forms, I did just want to take a minute to kind of go over what exactly web forms are, what their purpose is, just so you have a general idea. So essentially, if you've ever gone on a website and you see a section that says something like contact us and you're prompted to fill out a bunch of different fields, that's essentially what a web form is. However, usually when you're filling out information on a company's site or something like that, whoever's on the receiving end of it is going to have a difficult time finding that information, incorporating it into their actual database. And what Nimble's going to do with our web forms is essentially streamline that process for you. So if you're ever looking to do any type of prospecting, any type of lead generation, or maybe you're just trying to pull in client or customer info, um, a web form is going to do that for you. And not only is it going to do that, it's going to take that info, turn it into things like contact records, place it in a workflow for you. So it's just really going to simplify that data gathering process and collect all of the necessary info on potential clients, customers, or prospects. And just to show what a typical web form will look like, we can go into this tab right here. So all of your web forms that you create through Nimble are going to be completely customizable. Now you can see this web form here was just shared via a link. So you do have the option to share either through a link. So maybe for social media posts or a newsletter, you want to insert a link to that form and gather the data that way. Or you do have the option to embed it into your company site or whatever site you're looking to add it to through HTML. So the options are pretty extensive there. And this is, like I said, fully customizable. So all of this branding is completely up to you. If you have a specific look you're going for, all of this can be edited to fit exactly what you need for your business. So we'll go into the process of actually building a web form now. So whenever you're in Nimble, you'll see on the bottom left-hand side of your screen this web forms tab all the way at the end. And that's going to be where you can actually start creating your form. So if we go back to this view here, you'll see this new web form option. So when you click into that, you'll be prompted to start creating that form. Now you'll see a whole list of templates here that you can potentially use. There is, of course, a blank option. So that's just going to be where you can create your form completely from scratch. Otherwise, if you're looking for a little bit less work, you can choose the pre-made templates here. Maybe you're in marketing, you're looking to send out a newsletter. You do have a newsletter sign up option here. Or even if you're in customer support and you want a support ticket form, you do have the option for a support ticket form here. And if you scroll down, you'll see very many more forms that you can choose from that are pretty industry specific as well. So we'll choose the newsletter sign up as an example here. So once you're kind of satisfied with your template, you can go into the build form section. And this is really where you can start customizing things. So from here, you're going to be able to choose the fields that you actually want people to be able to fill out. And you can also choose the formatting of those fields. So if you want them to select something from a drop-down menu, maybe you want to choose this option right here. One other thing to note is that we do have pre-made field templates too. So if you're looking for something like a phone number and you don't want to recreate that phone number field because it's just extra work for you, what you can do is go into this search bar right here and type in phone number. And then you can select that and just drag it wherever you need to within your form. So then that's just already in there for you and you don't have to do a ton of extra work. So once you have that added in there, you can go ahead and move on to the actual styling of your form. And this is where that branding is going to come into play. So this is where you can change things like the color of the form, like I showed before, and even things like the font. Something that is worth noting here is if you go into the form colors, you'll notice all of these presets. So there's about 5 in here. However, if you do click into one of those presets, maybe the shade of blue is slightly off from your branding color, you can just click into that specific color and you can actually enter the color code there if you already have some for your brand. So that's just a little hack that I do like to show if you do need some consistency across your brand as far as the look of it goes. So once you're completely satisfied with how everything looks, all of your fields are configured, you're in that final stage of creating your web forms. So We can press continue to this. And in this general options here, you do have the option to set up an automated message that'll pop up on the screen once your form has been submitted by someone. So maybe you want to offer a thank you, prompt them to go somewhere else. You can redirect them to another page, completely up to you. But the single-handedly most important thing here is this Create Contacts tab, because once you press into this tab, this is where essentially the first stage of the automated actions with web forms come into play. So with our new web forms feature, one of the things that is kind of game changing is the fact that upon having a form submitted, whether it's on your site or via a link, that information is automatically going to be turned into a contact record or linked to a contact record. But the key here is making sure that this toggle button is turned on. So when you have your web form saved and configured the way that you'd like, and this is toggled on, all of those contacts are coming in and being associated with specific contact records, and that information is getting saved right within those records as well. So it just kind of centralizes everything. So all of your collected info remains in one place. And another thing here, let me go back and just show what an actual web form response would look like. So we'll go into this registration form here. So once you do start receiving responses, this is essentially what you're going to see. So you'll see a nice little line graph just kind of showing you your peak responses and just the general time frame of when you received those. And if we scroll down here, this is going to be a full list of all of those responses that you've received. So for example, let's say I have Jenna who responded to my web form. Well, she's already in my Nimble contact. So what happens then? Well, since she's already in there, I can click into her form response and already see her in here as a linked contact because Nimble's recognized, okay, Jenna entered her email that I have on record, her first and last name. So all of the info matches. So that's automatically associated with Jenna. Now, what happens if I have a brand new person who is adding their info to my form and they're not in my contact database? Well, if I have Julie here who submitted the form, what I can do is click into this search for existing contact button. And from there, I can press create contact from form response. And you'll see that Nimble is able to build a contact record for her immediately. So if we were to enter that contact in her record, you would see her form response and that data that she provided me. So it's a pretty simplified process, and all of that data is really just coming in super easily and staying attached to those people. And again, it's all in one database. You don't have to go digging for that information that was provided to you by that specific person. So then another thing to take into account, and remember, this is all occurring prior to actually publishing that web form, just so that everything is ready to go and set for you once you are ready to kind of interact with those people. Let's say maybe I am placing this form on my site and I'm trying to collect some leads from my site. Well, maybe I want to create a specific workflow that I can then have all of these people be in so I'm super organized. So if I'm still in this Create Contacts tab, I can scroll down here into my contact settings, and you'll see this section that says Workflow. And right next to that, you'll see this Add New Contacts to a Selected Workflow section. And if you select that option right there, you'll see a drop-down menu of all of your previously created workflows. So for example, since these people are coming from my site, maybe I want to add them to my website leads workflow. So now that I have this configured here, as soon as someone fills out my workflow, for example, if Julie filled it out now, she would automatically be added into that website leads workflow, and it would end up looking something like this. So if Jane, for example, filled out that form, you can see she's in here as a captured lead automatically. I don't have to worry about manually adding her into that workflow. Nimble did that for me as soon as she submitted that form. So just kind of going back here, one of the other things that is pretty important as far as these submissions go, when you finally start gathering that information from anyone who filled out your form, you want to be notified, right? You want to be able to interact with those people as soon as possible, especially in an industry like sales or real estate. You know, if you're in real estate, you want to know, okay, this is a potential interested seller. I better contact them quickly. Or a lead that you don't want to go cold, you want to reach out to them as soon as possible. And that's where something like notifications is going to come into play. So not only do you have the ability to add these contacts directly into your workflows now and have those contact records created for you, so it's less work, you also can be notified immediately upon receiving a response. And the way that you're going to do that, so go ahead and make sure that you publish your form. And then once you're in your web forms homepage again, which is just, again, going back to that web forms tab over here, you're just going to click into any of the forms that you currently have. So we'll just use this registration form as an example. And you'll see this notification settings option on every form. So if you click into that, you'll see a full menu here of all of those different notification options that you have. So you're going to want to enable things like the pop-up within your Nimble app. That's going to give you a nice notification on the bottom right-hand side of your screen as soon as you receive that form submission. And then you also have things like browser notifications and mobile notifications, which I'll go more into as well. But another thing that's super important when it comes to enabling these notifications is making sure that your settings on the actual device you're using are prompted to actually allow those notifications. So if you're using something like our browser notification, for example, you're just going to want to make sure that your browser notifications are enabled and pop-ups are enabled just so that everything is running smoothly and you actually are being notified of those submissions. And then from here, that does kind of lead me into the mobile portion here. So let me go ahead and switch back to the presentation. And we can go ahead and take a look at this slide right here. So web forms are available via our mobile app. So essentially what you can do, and you can see this on the left-hand side here within this GIF. So that's going to show you the section where you can actually click into web forms. And that's just going to be available in the More tab, which is on the bottom right side of your phone screen. So when you click into there, you'll see a web forms section. And from there, very similar process to the actual web app version on right here, and you can just press enable, and those notifications are going to be enabled. Again, same thing goes for your mobile app. Just make sure that you have notifications enabled via your actual phone settings so that there's no override of those notifications at all. But the great thing about this, so once you have those notifications enabled, let's say you're on your phone, you're taking a walk or something, and you get a very solid lead that comes in. Maybe you have your notifications enabled, so you get that notification right on your lock screen, just like you would over here on this right-hand side. You can then open that notification and it's going to take you directly into that web form response. Now, if you think about it, you have things like the person's email address, their phone number, all of the essential contact information that you need to kind of make your move there and make sure that they don't go unnoticed. So that is kind of where notifications come into play. And overall, the kind of new introduction with these features in web forms is really meant to just kind of streamline your process as far as gathering information from potential business opportunities. So all of those, all of that contact information from those leads, any type of interest in your business, maybe you're in consulting and someone is interested in working with you. It's so important, and time is really of the essence with things like that. So all of these new features are really just going to allow you to jump on those opportunities as fast as you can, and just make that process a lot simpler for you overall. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to Jenna, and she's going to go over our multi-value custom fields, which are another awesome feature update that we have here.
Yes, thanks, Gabby. I also use, on a side note, I also use web forms myself, and it's a really great place to just kind of streamline those activities, like um, Gabby said, especially if you have those hot leads and you have your phone right there, you can have those notifications, which is really important too. But I did kind of want to segue into multi-value custom fields. It's really confusing. It sounds confusing and scary. Basically, what multi-fields is, and I'll discuss what it looks like in the mobile app. I mean, in the Nimble app here. But multi-value custom fields is whenever you have a custom field, and maybe you need to have, multiple submission. So maybe, for example, you work in recruiting and you don't want to have a custom field for every single skill, every single description of that skill. Or even, for example, we were working recently with someone who does sales for boats. Maybe they want to check off what type of boats they have, what type of, specific manufacturing products they have. Previously, you'd have to make, a billion custom fields for that. Now you don't have to. You can have one custom field with multiple values. And I'll just discuss what that looks like here. Let me just move this out of the way. And I'm just going to move this tab here. So first, how you find it is through the data fields tab in your profile. So if you go to your profile and you click data fields, and I'm just going to move this back up here. So for here, this is what your data fields tab will look like. If you are new to Nimble, these are just the custom fields that you have that will show up on the contact record. Um, For example, I'll pull up my recruiting tab here and I'll press plus field. Now, the important thing here is where you see allow multiple values. So if you do want to have multiple custom values here, you'll just click this checkbox and then you can figure out what type of field type that is. So for example, like I said before, if you want to do like a skills or maybe like language proficiencies, that may be short text, or like before, if you're working with, different product types or different client type, anything that may have like a drop down of fields or maybe a select box, you can click into here and do select box as well. So it is up to you how you decide to have those multiple value fields. For example, I might do industry skills, for example. I might put industry skills, and then I can create fields. So now if I go back into my contacts tab, and of course, these multiple value custom fields can be for all contacts, or you can do it per contact. So depending how you like to actually have your custom fields represented on the contact card is totally up to you. But let me just pull up a contact record here. I'll pull up myself, for example. And say, for example, this is, a lead, a client, a contact, and you have a field on here that you need to add multiple specifications for. So I'm going to scroll down here, and these are my selected fields. So for example, I made that skill custom field before. I want to add a skill here. I can maybe put marketing, save. I can also add more values here, so I can add a value. Maybe I might do webinars. And you can keep going. There is no limit on the values that I know of. I would definitely, streamline these skills as much as you can, or these custom fields as much as you can. So, for example, I might do sales here. And kind of the important note about these custom fields too is that you can actually segment these, and I'll discuss why that's important as well. But just to recap a little bit about what this is. So before, if you wanted to have three different skills, you would have to make three different custom fields as well. But right now you can have one field that has multiple values. So these would be your multiple values here: marketing, sales, webinars. So you can really apply this to most industries that you work in. So again, manufacturing, product, maybe it's just like you're working with influencers. What are their topics? What are their expertise? You can get really creative with these custom fields. But on a side note too, you can also segment on these. So maybe you're looking for people with these specific custom fields. So if I want to segment on people who have marketing skills or sales skills, I can do that too. So it does kind of help you streamline your segmented audiences or segmented contact databases on Nimble. I know I'm jumping back a bit, but if some of you don't know what segmenting is, it's basically a way for you to filter out a contact list based on certain properties. So I'm just going to go back to the contacts tab here. And basically, you can segment on these. So maybe you want to email, if you're in recruiting, maybe you want to email those people who have specific skills to match them with the perfect job opportunity. Or maybe you just want to get a report on how many, boats have, white, blue, green. I'm not really much of a boat person, but you get the idea of how you might want to segment off of those. So if I go to the contacts tab here, I press add segment. I can add contact filter. And then, for example, I have those skills. I'm going to type in skills. And then maybe I want to do contains word marketing. And you can continue to add more to these too. So you can have multiple filters here. So I can have contains word marketing and contains word sales. So you can have a better database of what that looks like. You can see my skills contain word marketing, and it comes up with myself. So the contact that I just showed before with myself with the multi-value custom field, it shows this. So again, really great place to kind of streamline those specific little details to each contact record. This is really great if you found yourself before making a million custom fields and having them trying to match up with one specific one. Now you can have multiple values here, which is really great. And you can kind of leverage your segmenting and tagging off of this too. So you can further use this for email lists, reporting, moving them into workflows, things like that as well. So I hope that made sense. If it doesn't, feel free to put that in the Q&A. I know that was a little bit of a nuanced product update, but I'm really happy to share it anyways. And with that, let me go back to this page here, and I'll just discuss a little bit about our new product updates and what's upcoming. And I'll just put myself into a slideshow here. So kind of like I said before, like what Nimble is, what we're doing, and where we're headed. Of course, Nimble is really based on relationship management and focused on relationship building. But we're really focused on being that CRM platform that works for you and that operating system to help your business grow, which is kind of why we moved into the direction of all these great upcoming product launches here. So we're really focused on marketing automation, email automations, which is so important in today's age, especially coming into 2024, which is great. But just to kind of talk a little bit about what we're doing. So first, new message compose form. So if you are on Nimble and you're typing a message in Nimble, that little compose form comes up like to, from, select template, things like that. That is getting a redesign. Everything will remain the same in there. Nothing is left unnoticed. However, we do have a couple of updates to that as well. So not only is the UI going to be brand new, but you'll also be able to have multiple fonts and multiple colors, which I know a ton of you have been asking for, especially if you do more personalized or targeted or even branded email marketing. That's kind of something that we've been really working on to bring to you guys as well with some feedback. And then also too, we have like a bit of a shortcut. So if you press like the command slash button on your new compose form, it'll prompt a drop down of if you want to change the font, put a template on there, change the color. It's just more easy to use. And rather than, scrolling through all those buttons, trying to figure out what you want to do with your email, it's a lot easier to look at. Um, and this product launch will probably be up in maybe a week or two, so right before the new year, which is great. So keep a lookout on that. We'll be sharing it on all of our socials and blogs, as you may know. And next, I want to discuss a little bit more about the emails. So right now in Nimble, you cannot draft an email and send it later. However, that will be a possibility in the next month. So you'll probably see this launch mid to late January. So if you want to send an email to maybe someone on Monday morning, but you're typing it Saturday night, guilty. Sometimes I send emails on weekends. I don't want to bother people. But if you ever want to draft an email, now you can. You can send it later. Though there will be like a little, drafted email tab on your contact record. So if you are in a contact and you want to see what type of communication histories you have with that person, you'll be able to tell if that's a draft or a sent message. So again, you'll be able to draft emails and send them later, which is huge, especially if you don't like to work within, Gmail or Outlook or the email provider you have. It'll be easier to kind of work in that one place so you can work in Nimble by drafting and sending emails later. And then next, something super, super exciting that I know a lot of you have been asking for is sequenced emails. So this will really amp up your game, especially if you're working with email campaigns, drip campaigns, or you just want to send emails out on a regular basis to your targeted audience. Sequenced emails will be out probably early February. Do get excited. I know I'm excited for it. So this will be great, like if you have, an if one type of conditional formatting emails as well. So maybe you have a web form that comes in and you want to send them an email saying, thank you for your interest, putting that body of text in. And you can take them on that series of stages and kind of nurture those leads and eventually maybe put them into a workflow and things like that. But really, the whole purpose of sequenced emails is for you to nurture your contacts, your clients, your leads, things like that. Um, so that'll be upcoming. Super excited for that. And part of that too kind of ties into the last stage here, which is email send limit upgrade. So probably some of you have noticed if you're in your messages tab, it may say 100 sends per day or 200 sends per day. Gmail and Microsoft have upgraded their limits. So you'll be able to send more emails a day with still good deliverability rates, still getting in the inbox rather than the spam folder. And the reason why I bring that up is, of course, if you do plan to use sequenced emailing, you're bound to hit maybe over 100 emails a day, depending how big your audience is. You just never know how well your web forms might perform and how they might take you on the sequenced email journey. So that is something that I wanted to update everyone on. Of course, it's not the most glamorous upgrade or update, but it's still super important, especially if you really want to tune into those email campaigns in Nimble as well. So that's super exciting. But overall, the upcoming Nimble product updates are really just for our users listening to your feedback and helping your business grow as well. The reason why we do have these upcoming updates is to get you excited and, of course, leveraging these for your success as well. And I'll head to the next slide. I'll hand it over to Gabby.
Yes, so we will, let me share my screen. We're going to go ahead and invite all of you to sign up for a 30-day free trial of web forms, just because with all of those updates that we were talking about, it is a really great opportunity just to kind of play around with them. And you do get all of those features that I showed with your free trial, so definitely take advantage of that. And also, Jenna will be hosting a web forms focused webinar next week on December 20th. It's going to be pretty much a deep dive into web forms and automation. So we do invite you to attend that, and Jenna will be dropping the link to register for that in the chat box, so you will all have that. And then with that, we would like to leave some time for some questions. So if you have any questions, remember to leave those in the Q&A box, which should again be at the bottom of your screen next to that chat box. And we will do our best to answer all of those as they come in. Or if you have any general questions, definitely feel free to shoot us those as well.
Yeah, so I see a question here from Ross. Thanks for asking a question. I'll just reiterate it here if those can't see the Q&A. So Ross asked, with the phone number in web forms, can you get the associate their entry with one specific phone option types? Yeah, so I think what Ross is trying to say is yes, you can definitely do that. Basically, if that phone number matches to a contact record, it'll match that contact record as well. So you'll be able to do that. So phone numbers definitely does work in web forms. That goes for most fields as well, especially with contact information. So things like email address or phone number can match. So for example, if I sign one of Gabby's submission forms and I've been in her database with another email, or the same email, it'll count as the same thing because I'm the same person. So you can definitely do that with phone number as well and phone number types.
And we did have another question from Ross, Jenna, if you want to touch on. He is asking when the upgrade or the limit upgrade comes into effect for the email sends.
Yeah, so that would probably be close to the end of December, early January. We were still hoping to target that towards the end of December for a Christmas gift for you guys, but the absolute latest would be the first or second week in January, but you should see it in late December as well. And also part of that too, if you guys are ever like, when is this web form coming out or when is this product update coming out? We do have notifications on the Nimble desktop as well that will ping you when we have a new update, so you can head to that. And there's usually a blog post about it and a video. So if you guys ever want to dive in or kind of confused when that might come out, you'll be able to see that there as well.
And then we have a question from Donald. He's wondering which parameters we would use to decide if web forms will work for your specific situation. So for me personally, I think in any situation where you're just looking to kind of pull in data into a centralized database, a web form is for you, especially if, you're doing a lot of contacting with people who are maybe potential prospects. But one thing that's important to note too is that this isn't something that is super industry specific. So it's not like web forms only have to be used for, pulling in leads. This can be something like I said, if you're in real estate and you're looking for potential buyers or sellers, if you're in consulting and you want, potential jobs, people can contact you via a web form that way. So I think it's a pretty fluid situation as far as web forms goes, and it does fit quite a few situations, if that is helpful.
Thanks, Gabby. I see a couple questions in the chat box as well. Hello, Pitch. This session will be available for replay. We will send an email out tomorrow or Monday with the complete recording of this as well. We'll also send these resources over. So if you want to join the Web Forms webinar, I'll send that your way, of course. Take advantage of the Web Forms 30-day free trial. But to answer your question, we'll absolutely have this replay to all those who attend this webinar today.